Howdy, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Talkin Chute, an original rock and roll denim podcast. Today, we've got an awesome show featuring two of our favorite teammates, Sterling and Jacobs Crawley. These two hilarious cowboys have been a part of the rock and roll denim family for quite a long time, and as always, it was so enjoyable to talk to the both of them. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the entire Rock and Roll Denim Summer Collection. Be sure to check out our latest men's tech Western apparel designed to keep you cool, comfortable, and stylish all summer long. Shop the whole collection at your favorite Western retailer or online at rockandrolldenim.com. And without any further ado, this is Talkin Chute. All right, guys. The Crawley brothers, welcome finally to the Talkin Chute Rock and Roll Denim podcast. I've been wanting to have you guys on here since we ever started the whole thing, just because I love a conversation. You're both full of jocularities and jokes, and you guys have known each other longer than most people have known dirt. So,
yeah, 32 years coming up.
32? So yeah. Who's older? This guy's
me,
older.
yeah. I'll be 35 here next month. Star will be 32 right after that. So,
yeah. Wow.
3-year spread.
You got summer birthdays, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How's it impact the summer run?
It doesn't.
Once you're past 25, you don't really...
Yeah, I know. Once you're 35, I don't know.
I honestly have had to text my friends a couple times this year, be like, am I 32 or 33? Because I straight up just do not remember.
Right, yeah. It's all good.
So what's been going on with you lately, man? How's it been going?
Man, we just been rodeoing, and as you know, we both got little families, so that keeps us really busy. And just rodeoing and having a lot of fun, at the house and stuff. So the weekends go off rodeo, and then you get back home, and there's a list of stuff that you're going to try and get done before you go out rodeoing again.
It's like balancing two lives.
And it's just a cycle, and it just goes around and around. And but it's been a lot of fun. And Sterling's coming off a little bit of a ding on his leg in San Angelo. He got kicked and did like a 1.5 flips or rotations, whatever you'd say. But anyways, other than that, we're healthy and so ready to go. And so it's just exciting.
Yeah. What's it been like for you this last year?
It's been good. Like I said, last year got hectic at the end of the year, being on the bubble and everything. But shoot, it's still rodeo. I almost enjoy it. You don't enjoy it in the moment, but the madness kind of all of it, and just kind of reset this time of year and getting ready to go back into the full swing of things and go rodeoing.
And then the second week of December, everything's over. It's the new year.
Right.
So that's the great thing about rodeo and the lifestyle that comes with it is like, yeah, I was 16th last year. Star finished right outside of it. But it's just, okay, give it a couple months, and then it's a clean slate pretty much, and you're back at it again. And, the rodeos. And we just finished up with a big, the winter rodeos pretty much. Like San Angelo kind of puts a cap on all that. And so now everybody's getting ready for California and the sun. And, so it's I don't know. It's that springtime in the air. You get a little pep in your step and just ready to go. Like be careful in the afternoon perfs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got all these cowboys, they get done in the middle of the day. And
that's so. Faraway town.
Yeah. So, anyways.
So being on that bubble, you guys have been consummate pros as long as I've been here. As long as I've been with Rock and Roll Denim, it's always been the Crawley brothers. Last couple of years have been a little bit weird. Like you were saying earlier, there's been a lot of things going on in life just with COVID and with, people trying to figure out how to get back into the world the way that we knew it. Did that affect you guys at all? Was that something that you had to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, that, and then, we just had our second one, and she was actually born like day before the NFR last year. So, rodeo, I mean, we were rodeoing hard, but it was just weird, you know what I mean? Because you knew what you had coming, and you had all these other priorities and stuff, and now life seems to be kind of leveling out as far as the hectic change on that front, and so we're all kind of finding our rhythm, as a little family unit. And so being that is in that condition that it lets you go rodeo, with less on your mind other than rodeo,
right.
So it's really good. It's really fun. It's not the carefreeness that it once was 12 years ago, but at the same time, when home life is good and steady and, consistent, it lets you focus on the competition side more. And so,
and that's not that it's not fun rodeoing out there and being out there. It's just a different kind of fun. You have different activities. Your families come out. Like my daughter was born June 27th last year. She was probably 4 weeks old when her and my wife flew out. Jacob had his wife and kiddos out there, and it's just a different kind of enjoyment.
I know that you guys You both have 2 kids?
Yes.
That's right. So I know, you guys are amazing as brothers, and just the way that you guys act back and forth with that whole relationship. What's it like you guys being uncles to each other's kids?
It's hilarious and awesome.
Yes, it is a blast.
It is.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we both grew up with a bunch of uncles, and we saw the dynamics with that. You know what I mean, with the positive relationship of just these wild. My mom has 6 younger brothers.
Wow.
Big man too.
And they're all very playful and like fight, but get along great. And I say fight, I mean like physical fight.
Oh wow.
Like throw hands.
Yeah.
But they're also funny. And so I don't know, we got to see how much fun you could have with an uncle. You know what I mean? And like what a positive but fun, carefree person the uncle can be. And so like we both take a lot of pride and then like get enjoyment out of being, I don't want to speak for Sterling, but
Oh man, yeah. I get one of my favorite greetings when I get to see his boy. I get a running hug and I really don't look forward to the day when he gets older and he doesn't do that.
Right.
Because oh man, and just getting to see kind of what they pick up and everything from being just outside of, the frame there. And it's very, very neat to get to watch.
Are they old enough to come see you guys perform?
oh yeah. I mean, my boy flew with me and Sterling the other day to Columbus, Ohio.
Wow.
And he's 5.
Wow.
And we had connections each direction. So like, you know what it's like flying with a 5-year-old. Oh man, and I got this video.
It is.
So Sterling
actually
falls
really
asleep.
funny.
Falls asleep. My boy's sitting in the middle seat. And he loves his Uncle Stir, whatever. And so Uncle Stir has a habit of, as soon as the plane doors close, he's asleep. Always has been. He's had that gift to fall asleep on a plane. I don't have it. He's got it. Great for him. And so he falls asleep with his head back and his mouth's open. And he's not necessarily snoring, but his mouth's totally open. And me and my boy were in there, and we were watching, I think it was like Jurassic Park or one of those or whatever, on the phone while we're on flight. And I noticed that Sterling was sleeping. I was like, hey, dude, look at Uncle Stir. And his mouth, and he's laughing. I was like, take this pretzel. And he said, I want to mess with him. And I was like, take that pretzel. And I was like, and just put it so gently on his lip. Like I thought he was just gonna barely touch his lip. So Sterling's mouth's open, so my boy's laughing, and I've got all this on video. And he just comes and just shoves it all the way into Sterling's mouth. And so then Sterling's his reaction was just to go. So like he just spit the pretzel out. And he just turned so mad at the camera, but then realized it was a 5-year-old that did it.
Oh, then it was hilarious. But I was just thinking that Jacob had just stuck his finger in my mouth while I'm sleeping.
But I mean, to be clear, I didn't give the 5-year-old that good of directions because I just said, put that pretzel in Uncle Stir's mouth. And I thought he'd just be very gentle on his lip. And he just back of his mouth.
Oh, man. It hit the back of my throat. My tongue just shot it back out. And I looked over and he's laughing. And then Cordy is slapping. He's having so much fun.
Fast forward to 30 minutes. He's asleep again with his mouth open. And my boy's like, can we do it again? I was like, we can't do it. Like, you got to learn. There's a time and a place.
There's a line.
Moderation.
Yeah. We can't get Uncle Stir again. And then so whenever that was on the way to Columbus and whenever we flew home the next day, Sterling asked me, can y'all not stick anything in my mouth while I'm asleep?
He had to be real.
Yeah.
I was very tired. I was like, just let me
My
sleep.
kid was not amused. He wanted to keep messing with Stir, but...
Man, I can only imagine you guys probably have thousands of stories like that because y'all travel together most of the time when y'all were growing up and coming up in PRCA, right?
Oh, yeah. Since we were probably 5 years old. Wow. You know what I mean? Play days and youth rodeos. And we rodeoed hard back then. So we've always been, with one another. And so that's why it's really fun as we have our boys get integrated into it. And instead of us pulling the antic on the other one, we allow our children to do that. And it's
much funnier.
It's way funnier when a kid does it than when another adult. If I'd have put that pretzel in Sterling's mouth, rightfully he should have been mad at me. Like, come on, dude.
We'd have laughed, but it wouldn't be brought up again.
Yeah,
it's been an antic of the plane.
I don't even know if I'd have laughed. I'd have been like, "We're past this, man. We're past this."
I don't know.
But now, it was really funny, and so it's been good.
I love that, man. I love that. What's the craziest thing that happened when y'all first started rodeoing? Like with no parents, you're on the road by yourself. Having to go to crazy rodeos by yourself, travel issues, funny stuff like that, anything. What's the craziest thing you can think of?
Well, early in the days, it would have been the ambulance's wheel coming off.
In the desert. That one gets told a bunch.
Yeah, it does get told a bunch. But
I never heard that one.
Yeah, we were rodeoing. It was right before the 4th of July. We were in Pecos the night before. And you can make Pecos to Reno, night perf to night perf. just barely. It's like 22 hours. Like you can drive it, but you got to stay hooked. And anyways, we had this old ambulance that was turned into like an RV in the back.
Jeremy Melanson, yeah.
Jeremy Melanson paid for, and we just got to drive it. Anyways, it was great. Queso, shout out. And anyways, we were going, and we were north of Vegas. We're in that little like desolate part of the world, which is
Just
from
past Indian Springs.
from Las Vegas to Reno. And there's
just
like
sand.
nothing,
Yes.
but the occasional little gas station / brothel.
Yeah,
Sure.
It was what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was the Cherry Patch. That's what it was called.
Heard they have good
changed
burgers.
They changed the name. Now it's like an alien place. It's still there. I mean, obviously it's weird, but they changed it to like this. It used to be the Cherry Patch 2. Now it's an alien joint.
Yeah.
Whatever. And they had these cattle guards coming into it and leaving it. And we hit that second cattle guard, and we're in the ambulance, whatnot, which it didn't drive very smooth. This is not like a new ambulance or
It was like a
anything.
94, I think.
And so she's got a little rattle. Anyways, she runs with a rattle. But this rattle was a little bit more than her typical rattle. And so we're going, and I can't remember if I looked at her or she looked at me and was like, do you feel that being a little bit more? And then about that time, the tire, I was like, let's slow down a little bit, see if it stays with us. About that time, as we slowed down, the outside tire kept going. And so it passed us, and those roads are straight forever. So like
So the guy that did the ambulance also put Rockstar rims on the back of it, like or on it. So they're black, murdered out Rockstar rims.
and they weren't supposed to be on it. It was too heavy.
Right.
That's what we were told. Anyways, what had happened was we sheared all of the lugs off of that side. And so that tire just basically came off, and it was going down the road. And so we get it, the ambulance over to the side before the inside one had worked its way out. And then we're just there. So we don't know what to do. We're in the middle of nowhere. And we had to walk to get the tire first off, and it had rolled
Oh man.
half a mile straight. Cars were pulling over, the couple that were there, to avoid it. All we had in there was like hot Red Bull to drink. It's not like we had a cooler. Anyways, so we're stuck on the side of the road. We got a call, turn out of the first round of Reno. And then Cody Demos was coming in an old conversion van, same path. And thank God Hot Sauce pulled over, because
He knew how to pull the lugs off the good side, and we supplemented those with the others. So we had 4 lugs on both sides. And the rim, come to find out, the rim.
we didn't know what was messed up. We didn't know if it was axle. We didn't know how
Yeah.
much damage we had done. But
This thing was just walking on the back end. We went between like 5 and 10 miles an hour.
anyways, yeah, so we
Yeah.
got back to the Cherry Patch, and we went in
after
there.
like 7 hours on the side of the road working on it.
Yeah, this is terrible. And that's where we got water, though, because we had been drinking hot Red Bull thinking that was going to quench our thirst.
Yeah. Demos
If
had
you're-
like a little bit of water in a
If you're
bottle. he gave us.
dehydrated, don't drink hot Red Bull. But anyways, we got back to the gas station, and we got some drinks and some other stuff to keep us fueled for the drive. And we bought some souvenirs, swag, because we thought this will be great.
My wife still sleeps. That's her jammy shirt is support your local cat house, berries, cherries too. Or is it cherries? Is it berries, cherries?
No, Cherry Patch.
Cherry Patch, Berries, Cherries is the
That was
van.
the other story.
That's a different van.
That's
Yeah,
a different van
different van
story.
story.
Yeah. They all run
Yeah,
together.
this one was way more miserable
Yes.
than that one. That one, like, solution in 2 hours, boom, boom, we're on the trail.
Right.
This was like, there was literally on the side of the road for 5 hours till Hot Sauce came by.
Yeah.
We did that process. We had to limp that mug for 6 hours, going like 7 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did it, looking back, but we were 23 and 20. Like, we didn't, and I was a fresh 23. Like, I was still in college. Like, we didn't know that pay a little bit extra, the tow truck will drive further. We thought, whenever we talked to them, they said, you've got to get to this point for us to get you. So, like, we had to drive it 40 miles going like
I mean,
7
we
miles
had
an hour.
traffic like you hadn't seen behind us. Just stacked
Sterling
up.
could occasionally jump out and make sure that we were afraid that the tires were going to, like,
spool out.
yeah, anyways, it was
So
a
wait,
great
you
time.
jumped out while the ambulance
It was going.
moving?
We never
We were
went over
going,
10
we were
miles
going
an
like
hour.
7 miles an hour. Like,
Like-
you could keep up.
Yeah, they just jump out and run beside it.
Make
Look-
sure it was
look at the
good. And
car.
I'm not lying, dude.
No, it was
And like that
100.
line was so long. And I was
It's
just
not.
tell someone, like, I just don't know what we're supposed to do. We just got to keep driving. So we drove. Anyways, we get to the spot, sleep in the ambulance. A tow truck comes the next morning, tows us into Las Vegas.
Well, the first tow truck got picked up. They had to bring us a bigger tow truck.
Yeah, they didn't know how heavy the ambulance was. Anyways, get us back to Vegas. We rent a car. We make the second round in Reno. and Sterling ended up placing in the second round, and so it was all really good. And then that leads into another part of the craziest story because Sterling lost his phone and got a track phone. A burner, basically. You know what I mean?
Let's roll into this one.
So he goes into that one. No, this one is not for.
We can't podcast this one.
Just put
but
a prelude into it.
Know that led into
The best prank I ever pulled on Jacob in our lives.
I was completely fooled by Sterling and a Go phone.
They asked if I wanted my regular area code on the new number for the new phone. I said, "Does it cost more?" And they said, "Yeah, it's like an extra $20." I was like, "No, just give me a Reno number."
So
Insto facto,
he gets a Reno number that has at his access, and I never was aware that he was coming from a Reno number. So
and I didn't use it after I figured out what Jewel I had.
Somewhere in the next couple of days, through all the adventures of everything going on, he figures out that I don't know that this is his number, and then that leads into like a week-long joke that was one of the more scary weeks
that I slowly brought the other two guys we were rodeoing in with, and then we got a handful of us in on it right before we.
Dude, it was.
So this joke was a conspiracy then.
Oh, it was
I mean, it led to.
It
was a week-long deal though, and like as this joke marinated, like
it only got better
because I didn't let anybody know.
That it was happening to you.
And he's keeping it close to the chest, and I'm letting more people in on it as we were going.
And I can't go into the details, but the sheer fact that I wouldn't let anybody else know the details lets you know how serious this joke was.
I feel like people do that. Like you're dealing with something on the side that is really bad or could potentially be really bad, but you don't want to tell your best friends.
Man. They make movies about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till my best friends figure this out.
It's gonna be the latest thriller. Is what,
All the while we're just grinning.
But on the other side of that, you guys can use your imagination.
Part
to
of a
figure out
Liam
what that joke was.
That was
movie. Anyways, but yeah, so that ambulance tire coming off, making it to Reno.
Yeah.
First year in Reno led to that next story, which was our first 4th of July run. So it just bundled into that first summer, really. Yes, what's the craziest thing about rodeo? And that's like a
summer.
3-month window.
Yeah.
23 and 20.
An Australian named Cody Anglin, and our good buddy Jeremy Melanson.
Queso.
And us in a van, like an old conversion van, rodeo van, and the ambulance. We had 2 rigs, and it was the greatest.
I don't think you could go looking for adventures and find as many as we found that first year.
I agree.
Like it was
organically.
Just stumbling into stuff that you would have never.
It was 4 individuals with open minds.
Yeah,
I think is what a big thing because like
a lot of curiosity,
a lot of curiosity and energy.
A lot of energy.
Like we would just go into the evening,
not
knowing
with no concern,
not knowing what the next step was going to be, but willing
to find out.
To find out. And
I swear, man, I've used this comparison so many times, but just talking to you, it's confirmed. Being a traveling rodeo athlete is the exact same thing as being a touring rock band. It's the same thing.
Well, we have a lot of friends that are musicians and that are like,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like professional musicians, like that's their income. And then like in the off season, we blend so well.
Jacobs Trailer Park was one of the most fantastic matchups of just.
So we had in Stephenville, whenever I made my first NFR and I got my first little bit of money, we were renting a mobile home at this guy's place. And so he had 5 or 6 mobile homes. And then once I made the NFR and made a little bit of money, I was like, dude, I'll just buy the mobile homes and we'll, have this reduced rate on rent and we'll all live on the same tract of land. And we won't have any rules.
Yeah, it's a bunch of mystery.
So we had 4 mobile homes, an arena, and we had a few bucking horses. And so it was called the Compound. And anyways, that I lost that name to some trademark issues down the road as other people started calling their place Compound. But we were the original Compound, and it was the greatest of times. And so we all had a very similar schedule. They would go out on the weekends to play shows. We'd go out on the weekends to rodeo, and then we'd all circle the wagons for Sunday night through Wednesday night, and it would just roll back in it again.
Looking back on it, Burglar would have had a heyday if he'd have just worked weekends.
He cased the place one time.
Yeah.
There was nobody.
And if you were ever hurt or for whatever reason had to turn out of a rodeo, you were at the place by yourself. No one else was there.
Yeah.
So you were just sitting
And then
there.
you wait 2 days, and it's just
then
lined
it was
with pickup trucks and
15
boys. And,
cars, and we'd buck horses, and the chute help were the musicians. I don't know if
that
you know
was the
about anything about
coolest part.
musicians. They're usually not the most, like, I don't know, cowboy individuals to where, like, they know their way around bucking animals or anything, I don't know, remotely rodeo. So, but they had an open mind and were willing to participate.
they were committed.
They were committed. They were going to give you all that the 115 pounds that they had to give.
That's
You
it.
know what I
They were
mean?
gonna, if you gave them a job and you described what you wanted from them, they were gonna do everything in their power. They didn't have no give. They had zero quit.
I sincerely believe, they would have.
I mean,
It might be a little bit dramatic, but I would die for this.
the-
But
the-
those dudes,
they risked their career at multiple points.
they made their living with their
hands,
hands,
yeah.
and they are running neck ropes and pulling gates, and they don't understand a bucking horse, so they don't know when that horse leaves the chute.
Where it's gonna
he
go.
might kick or he might do this. They're just there
Well-
in this 110-pound frame.
And this is just an example. One of the horses gets his legs over the chute, and one of the guys is sitting there running the gate rope that's got it tied off already, and he's ducked down like this, and this horse is coming down and pawing. No quit. He's just sitting there,
Just
terrified.
watching.
We're yelling, "Get out of the way!"
Yeah.
Like we can get him another neck rope, and but that was his job, so he was ready to.
Go down with the ship.
Oh yeah, and we'd back the car up, and we'd play like just all these 70s, like Earth, Wind and Fire, everything like that. Just
Oh,
ridiculous music.
It was so fun because we'd have the horses loaded. Have all of our stuff out and ready. And it was just out of a cheesy 90s movie. They'd be coming across the driveway, with their supplies and ready to go to work.
So we'd have a few trucks backed up behind the bucking chutes. We'd run the few horses in, as soon as it started cooling off, buck horses, and then I just have our time. It was the greatest of times.
It was
a short window.
It was,
Made
but
for a
it feels
lot of
like
stories.
it feels like a long one for everything that was compressed into that amount of time.
It feels like it's times like those that define you, like who you're going to be, like what you find your humor in.
I don't know. That's
I don't
dangerous
know.
as far as
No?
like,
Not
it was
so
It
much?
was a different chapter of life.
I
It
will
was
say,
a beautiful chapter.
I don't know if it will define you so much as it I don't know.
learn
Like,
some
I feel like I don't know how to frame it.
I don't-
I don't know how to frame it. They're crucial to your life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it will define you. It's important to have those times of carefreeness with your friends.
You do make lifelong friends.
Maybe
in
if you
those.
make it out alive, you'll be in good shape, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like these dudes,
Sometimes
and
they
I
catch the
own
rooster.
these homes, so like
Right.
I owned them, like, and they would just. It wasn't like they were renting from some unnamed individual.
Yeah, we're gonna stick it to the man. No, the man
No,
is.
they're
he's
setting
over-
fireworks in this house that I got.
Oh, they loved.
Oh,
we
my
all
gosh.
did, but it was.
We
They
all
loved
did.
it. It was
brought
his
up.
house.
It was.
Roman candle fights.
Hold on, the door had a gap under it about this much.
Oh,
if I
yeah.
locked the door, my roommates would shoot Roman candles where they bounced under the door and went off in the room with me. And
So that was my only thing. I was just telling myself, if you're gonna burn it, just burn it to the ground.
oh man,
You know what I mean?
had to get creative of rebuilding things that would get broke.
Oh
the
man, I had to
time.
fix so many pieces of siding, and torches.
Oh,
No.
you could never leave weapons out. Like a machete, if you were using it for the purpose you bought a machete for, you couldn't leave it out because.
And just to
in
be
the
clear,
twilight hours-
none of these individuals need a machete. Like it would be like,
Maybe we
like
need
they're
a
not
machete.
working with a machete. Like they're not clearing brush.
It's just there.
And, like,
Say,
it's
hey,
just-
that's a
hold on.
machete.
The
No,
machete
they're
was-
doing karate.
The machete.
on
Hold on. The
cardboard.
other guy
It
had
is Step
he had a
Brothers.
katana, and that was a lot more dangerous than the machete.
Like a real sword.
Yes, I left.
Yes.
I left a deal like it was a wood cutout of a man with construction outfit and everything. And as I left for the rodeo, they weren't.
It was
leaving yet.
actually it was borrowed from a rodeo parking lot, and it was like parked that way, contestants kind of thing. But
It
it
was
was
a
a
really
man's
good
cutout.
cutout.
And so I don't even remember what committee. So there's not like we can name drop that. But it was borrowed from the compound to the compound.
And I
And
asked
so it
them
was
not
like
to
this-
damage it while we were gone. And I couldn't have been gone an hour and a half. And I got a video sent. What was it? It wasn't Vine. What was the?
I don't know, but
They made one of the little video
Yeah.
with music over it.
it was everybody was kung fu.
He's like,
fighting.
woo, woo.
It's still on Dean's
And he
social media.
chops his head
Russell.
off with this katana, and it's just slow mo as dramatic as. Couldn't even be mad because the pageantry was phenomenal.
At least they put a show together.
They did.
After
They
you
didn't-
specifically told them not to.
It's like, yeah.
So you guys still friends with those dudes?
Oh, yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
At all of our weddings, and we still all have an annual gathering, Crawfish Bowl, thanks to one of the members two of the members that really coordinate it.
Mm-hmm. Make sure everybody gets together at least once a year.
Yeah,
Good.
Red Shahan and a man named Sheriff, who's a legend in his own, coordinate the Crawfish Bowl, the compound Crawfish Bowl, and it's so it's still going strong. So yeah, we're getting shirts made next year. That's me. I've been dropping the ball, not getting T-shirts made. I've been telling them for this still. Like the function's been going on.
Right.
Need something.
Yeah.
8th annual.
Yeah,
Compound
for real
Crawfish.
talk.
I
Yeah.
like that. Everybody's got a different color for what band or group they were with.
Well, I was gonna just do different colors each year, so you remember.
There
Oh,
you
you
go.
Oh,
were
we
you
did
there in
that
23?
year.
Were you there
Yeah.
in 24 when Mason cut himself on fire? Because that's the kind of story it would be. Yeah.
So what happened to the compound? What did you end up doing with it?
I moved to Bernie, and then it just got too hard. Well, everybody started moving off. So when Sterling moved off,
It was like the end of Sandlot.
it was
no.
exactly like the end of Sandlot.
It was.
You know, and so everybody just kind of went away.
You didn't want to be the jet, be the last guy there.
Yeah,
Right.
and then so I sold the property, and so
But
hilarious.
we drive by still sometime and reminisce. Anytime one of my other old buddies, because during the compound, another friend of ours built a house a mile down the road, and so kind of as everybody was filtering away from the compound, the last of us there would go over to his place and kind of relive some of the.
Right, because it was
I
close
got married
enough.
and moved away, and this was not the environment for a newly wedded man, nor the environment I was going to bring my new wife into. We needed to move on.
Which she did live there with for a while, and that was one of the things that I thought she was.
Well, we were
such a
trying to figure
wonderful-
out, where we were going to live, and so then once we found out our spot down there in the hill, Bernie, where I was at for 6 years or whatever, we got a place down there. So
You guys still live kind of close together?
we have been living
we've
about
been living-
100 yards from one another.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So Sterling just got finished building on their place.
Yeah, we just moved in maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. Congrats.
And so he was in just a little guest house there, which we lived in whenever we built. And so whenever I say, like, my boy Cordy could go run over and see Uncle Sir, like, we saw him a lot. They were right there. So, like, every time Uncle Sir was around there, we were ready to terrorize or he was ready to show off something for Uncle Stir and Aunt Hannah. And so it's
Pretty cool.
it's been a good, and that was like 14 months.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it was a long time, but it's been good.
Man, I can imagine just how cool that is for your kids, for them to grow up with their cousins so close to each other. My cousin was my first best friend, and that's what I've always said is, like, your cousins just end up being your first best friends, and to have that proximity to each other for them to get into their antics or whatever they want to do around the property.
For sure.
That's priceless, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and now we're about 30 minutes now,
Yeah.
which is still, they're on the south side of Stephenville, I'm on the north side of Stephenville, so it's still not bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still really good, and it's easy, and so, yeah, it'll make for a lot of fun. Like I said, my mom had 6 younger brothers, and we all lived in the same town growing up before we moved to Stephenville, so we had, I don't know, 30 cousins. The number could grows, it seems like.
Is it only you two in the family
Yeah,
as far as
it's-
siblings?
yeah.
Just you two? Cool.
Yeah.
So when did, I'm sure it had to have been you first, but you probably had the same idea around the same time. But when did you decide that you wanted to do rodeo forever? Like that was going to be your main shit?
Probably, I don't even know if it's still there because I don't think I'm going to rodeo forever because I'm a bronc rider. Sure. And so my second act will begin, in a handful of years. But no, it was just, I knew that I wanted to rodeo. So I was, at A&M, getting my degree, and I didn't know what it would turn into. I didn't know how long I'd be able to do it. I just knew that I was going to do it for at least a couple years and have that experience of being a bronc rider and a rodeo cowboy. And so it really worked out that my senior year at A&M, I qualified for my first NFR because I just stepped in from being a full-time student and went right into being a rodeo cowboy. So, like, I didn't go to career day and stuff like that. When these guys were looking for jobs, I was like, man, I'm going to get my degree. It's going to be there. But I'm going to go rodeo and focus on rodeo for a couple years. And then that's been 12 years ago. So
It was pretty cool. He Skyped in for his final exam there from the ARIA in a dress shirt on a ironing board. And I was like, that's pretty.
Sterling was in the bed still because he stayed with me my first
hanging
NFR the whole
out.
time. He was a college student, but he was still
That was it.
So Sterling's in the bed, and I've got the ironing board and the laptop, and we're on, and I had a dress shirt and a coat, and I was in athletic shorts, and I Skyped in for the Q&A after our senior project, and they didn't want to talk about anything of the senior project. They just wanted to ask about Las Vegas,
Yeah.
like everybody. So I really leaned in to that rodeo cowboy deal. Like once they watched on TV the NFR, and they were like, this guy wasn't full of it whenever he said he needed his finals moved. And so I just really played that part, man. And I used to drive with my senior project friends around, you know, in the old rodeo van. They loved it. And so it was a lot of fun at A&M that last semester. But that's what, you know, I just went from being a full-time engineering student to a rodeo cowboy, which means you have a lot of time on your hands.
Right.
But,
What about you, Start? What made you start?
I mean, I obviously following right in behind him on things. I saw that this thing that we've done our whole life, our first memories were rodeos, youth rodeos, play days, and things like that we kind of just came up through the steps. I saw him move over to bronc riding. We've always thought, you know, bronc riding was it's just a neat event. You know, it's where it all began, the historic value of it and everything. And then I saw him step into it, saw him have success in it, and him kind of working out the kinks, learning it more so for himself. And as I was coming into it, he was able to cut some of those corners, some things that he had trial and error figured out. So I had a smoother route into it and started seeing success in it at a younger age, and then saw what pursuing it could do. It was always one of, you know, you're a kid in the 5th grade and they put down, what are your 10-year goals and stuff like that. Mine always had, I want to be an NFR, you know, cowboy. I want to compete there. I want to win the world. I want to do these things. And to actually get to mark them off and realizing that it was possible. You were able to obtain that by taking the route that I watched, you know, somebody do, you know, my brother go through. It was awesome. There was no other question.
Yeah.
and and a little bit, you know, in the early days, like it's out of necessity because it's great and it's romantic and it's this, that, but like you got to make money. So like whenever Sterling, I don't know, I was 19 or 20 and stuff. And so I've been rodeoing just a little bit, and he was kind of in Texas and thinking about, I'm going to start going to these, you know, open rodeos and whatnot. And it was, you know, told him that's how you need to make money is you can ride bucking horses. And if you do this thing that they'll pay you to do that you enjoy doing, like it makes sense to focus your attention on that. And so like, it just kept growing from there. As you
16 and you were at Tarleton at 19, I think, whenever you grabbed me there and told me that, and realized that you could, at 16 years old, go make money.
Money that 16-year-olds can't make.
Yeah.
If you can go win these open rodeos, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how we've paid the bills. We never had a job, you know what I'm saying? It's always been rodeo. And so we go from a college kid to rodeo, and you just, I don't know. You find something, and we're very fortunate to find something that we can do pretty good and we really like doing, and then it creates all these other opportunities for this madness of a lifestyle that we've had for 15 years. So,
well, it sure is fun watching you guys do it. I'll tell you that.
It's been good.
Appreciate it.
So what's next for you guys? I mean, I know we're both on the rodeo. You guys got to hit the West Coast pretty soon, but what's y'all's plans for 2023?
Just that. Rodeo as hard as we can stand. There's too much opportunity, man. Rodeo, Western world, everything. It's really cool, everything that's going on. And there's a lot of money and a lot of great rodeos. And it's just one of those things that while we are young and while we can, just lay the hammer down as much as you
Take
can.
advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just it. Stay as busy as we can stand.
Yeah.
Lord willing, be healthy and have a lot of fun in the meantime.
It sure would be fun from my perspective to see you both in those yellow bucking shoots come this December.
Agreed.
We would love that.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Word.
Another endorsee dinner.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Right.
Everything that comes with it, too, yeah.
And a couple years of pent up,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, excitement for that.
Yeah.
So like,
You can cuss if you want to. I'm just saying.
yeah,
Oh, no,
it's all good. I'd rather not.
Well, you guys, I mean, as long as I've been here, I'll be here 4 years in October, but you guys have been a staple of our team since I started here and since well before that. What was y'all's first like interactions when you started your relationship with Rock and Roll Denim and Panhandle?
So we hit it with a bang, man. We actually were approached because we did a fashion show at our circuit finals. They used to have a ladies luncheon type fashion show, and it was like a little fundraiser. And I had just made my first NFR. It was right after 2011, so it'd have been January, like New Year's of 12, and we acted a fool. I mean, straight I mean, like you hear all those stories of the first summer. This is after the first summer. So like we were really in our groove.
Yeah,
we're literally in the groove. So like we shirts off and stuff. We had lots of props. I went to like a party store before the show and like spent $20 on some props and things of that nature.
Probably didn't wear the exact clothes that we were asked or in the way that we
had a lot of
wear
fun.
them, but like
had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So anyways, they said, hey, and then it was Denver. And so everybody was at the market and they said, you want to come swing by the office or swing by the spot, and meet this group, see if you'd want to be involved with Panhandle and rock and roll. And so we went in there, kind of had a nice little meet and greet, kind of checked out some stuff. And then they said, hey, we're sponsoring a party at the Grizzly Rose tonight. You want to go? Little did they know at that point in our life, that was literally
our plan anyways. So, we were going to.
They'd have seen there. So we basically just had a better seat than most.
Right.
And so anyways, we got in there and we're just the goofy individuals that we were at that time. We ended up, I think Sterling won the high kick contest. We got into a high kick contest with Gina.
Love that.
That continued. That contest.
And I think I was second, but for the out of respect, she can say that she was second. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to dig up, what happened 12 years ago at a Grizzly Rose, party. But anyways, so then after that really jump started the relationship, and then we it's just been nonstop since then, man. So it's and then met everybody, you know what I'm saying, over the years, and it's really love the family feel and not just family like, oh, family, I love you, but like the razzing and something like that from all the dinners and stuff like that over the years, that you kind of know someone's personality and develop that relationship to where it's a comfortable fit, so.
For sure. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've been here for so long. I don't come from this world at all. I think people can recognize that through the podcast and everything. But what I did come to love was how romantic, like you said, everything is. Everybody, I think, really tries to get over all the minutia of people and then just realize who you are as a person. And then just the people that will have the confidence to razz you and go at you, well, like that feels like family. That feels like home.
Right.
And that's something that I always was really, really attracted to and why I love this industry.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like I said, it's one of those things that, man, we haven't really just bullheaded our way in any which direction. We've just, from the get-go, just gone with the flow and then fill out, your direction and let it happen organically. You know what I mean? So like you get into a situation and you know when it's right. And some you may know that it's wrong, or you may get that feeling. And this has just been one of those, man, from the get-go, that it's been just a great feeling and a great ride. And, you like I said, it feels like home.
Feels like home. So I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time today. I know it's been a long day. We got some stuff to do still. I got to get you guys home. But the way I like to wrap up each podcast is to ask each guest individually, if there's a kid out there that wants to do exactly what you guys are doing. You kind of already answered it for me, but what would be the biggest piece of advice that you could give to them?
I think in our event, saddle bronc riding, the biggest advice is go to a good school and get some help from the individuals one-on-one, or as much of one-on-one as you can, because with our deal, you need to start with good equipment and you need to start in the right environment, and if you're a kid that's been getting on for a few years and you're trying to get over the hump, well then reassess that, see if you've got the right equipment, see if you've got the right stuff, and if you're, doing what's necessary to be competitive, and if that's getting on practice horses or spur board and stuff like that. But we roped, rode bulls and all that. We weren't bronc riders. Our dad's not a bronc rider. Like no one in our family. This isn't some long line of stuff. We just really liked it and then just kept trying to get better and better and better as we went. And so to that kid, don't give up and stay focused on, if you really want to do it, get in with the people. Either reach out, get in with the school. If you're older, get in with some guys that have done it. You know what I mean? If you're in the college, go to a college rodeo environment. They've got great ones that can basically build you as a bronc rider. You know what I mean? But keep an open mind and be willing to work. And if you're young, starting out green, completely green, go to a school and get help. You know what I mean? Because I started out with $300 saddle, halter, everything, one-stop shop that somebody just, hey, my son doesn't want to do this anymore, and here, my dad bought it. The reason he didn't want to do it was because it was a terrible idea to be getting on bucking horses in that saddle. Like, I mean, our event, if you don't have the right equipment, what are we doing?
It's hard enough with the right equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, you got to get in. And so finding the right equipment, finding a school to know what you should be working on at home, and then, you know, depending on where you're at in the stages, just talk. You know what I'm saying? Get connected with those people that are going to help you, and then just don't quit, because it's not that complicated. You just got to be willing to put the other stuff in.
Yeah.
So
do you agree?
Not ever. I mean, and that's exactly the same opinion of the matter. And so we do some of the same rodeo schools, and when you're learning, and even if you're just trying to hone it and be sharper, not being bullheaded and being unwilling to change something or try something or see something from a different perspective of maybe it be you swap your equipment, your saddle, you know, your spurs or different things, but being open-minded to different things. Obviously, you don't need to change all the time, but just constantly trying to better yourself. And sometimes that's bettering your equipment. Sometimes that's trying different equipment that maybe there's nothing wrong with yours, but maybe it's just wrong for you. And like I said, going to the school, having these guys have different sets of eyes on it, find somebody that you like the way they ride, and maybe they're built like you, and try to imitate that form, because me and Jacob, we're very different body types and stuff. And like a shorter guy's going to probably ride more like Jacob than he is going to ride like me. And that's just something important to kind of keep in mind whenever you're trying to build your basis, your platform there.
But the main thing is the don't quit mentality of, like, if you hit a roadblock with, well, I met this one guy and he was kind of helping me, but then it didn't work out. It's like, just talk to people. You know, that's the other thing about this industry, lifestyle, world, event, whatever. Most guys are willing to talk to you, and they're you know, not rude, you know, every time. Hopefully not. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just keep trying enough, you're going to get in, you're going to find the guy that will pour into you a little bit more and that you'll get the benefit from. And so just don't quit, keep talking, and don't give up, and it'll work out. So
That's perfect, man. Last thing I want to do, and I really wish that this would have serendipitously worked earlier. We had Dale in here earlier.
I
wanted y'all to kind of.
I butt dialed him while I was changing jeans. I was like, hilariously enough, and so
I wanted y'all to commingle, and I wanted him to pop in and do a run through on the podcast because he sometimes co-hosts with me. But because he's not here, I want y'all to look at that camera and give him a little message. Anything you want to say?
Well, I just told him earlier. I apologize for calling, but it was a butt dial.
Just missed you. Yeah, would have been fun.
Yeah, I don't even know what to tell TP other than I'll see you probably here in a few weeks for some practice horses, because we're gonna go up there and get on some. So
hopefully he'll let me come up and film that, because that would be fun.
Yeah, dude, for real.
All right.
I'd love to.
Yeah, let's set it up.
Sweet, we'll set up.
We'll set it up. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for coming by. Appreciate you much.
You too.
Good to see you.
Can't wait to see you guys on the rodeo trail this year. Let's have some fun.
Yes, sir.